Demoniacal Fit Majin Buster was released in January 2023 and retails for about $55 US, depending on where you pick it up from. I bought my copy from AliExpress, not always the best choice, but one of the cheapest options for me personally, since I live in Japan. But your usual third-party figure online retailers like Omnistore and 5K Toys should have this one in stock, although the last time I checked, I believe 5K Toys had sold out. Majin Buster is, of course, Demoniacal Fit's answer to 2022's San Diego Comic-Con event exclusive Super Saiyan 2 S.H.Figuarts Goku. Wow, that's a mouthful. And if you've been watching my channel for a while now, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of this form. It's my favorite, especially for Goku. So does Demoniacal Fit's rendition live up to the original, or does it fall short as just another quick and easy copy? Well, to be honest, it's kind of a toss-up actually, and when it comes down to it, I think it'll be personal preference more than anything. There are a couple of issues I have with the figure that might not seem like much in the grand scheme of things, but if you guys know my reviews, I like to be as thorough as possible and lay down all the differences I notice about the two figures. But first things first, the things I do like about this release, and I can say this confidently with nearly all Demoniacal Fit releases, is that they always give us something a little extra. We saw an additional Super Saiyan Blue head and an original head sculpt of Jiren in that very iconic manga panel as he gets hammered in the stomach by Ultra Instinct Goku for their version of Ultra Instinct Blue Shirt Goku. An extra powered down Goku Blackhead with True Believer, their version of Zamasu, and for Majin Buster we get an extra full powered Super Saiyan Bangs as a little bonus as well. At first when I opened the box and I pulled it out of the package, I was like, you gotta be kidding me, right? They packed in the wrong head sculpt, because Goku does come with the full power bangs straight out of the box, and after a little heart attack I realized that it does come with both. So again, something that Demoniacal Fit didn't need to do, but something that is always appreciated. Another thing I enjoy about Demoniacal Fit's Super Saiyan 2 Goku is the color palette for the gi. Both DF and the official release look great, and I think there are so many orange and blue color combos out there for Goku with the original Super Saiyan God and this official Super Saiyan 2 Goku probably being amongst some of my favorite color combinations. But I gotta say, DF is right up there with the more saturated, vibrant color choice. I also like the flat matte yellow for the hair. It's a personal choice, but I almost always go for the flat anime colors over metallics. Does that make the official bad? Definitely not, but again, it's just a personal preference. So one of the changes I want to point out about Demoniacal Fit's version is that the upper torso is actually different to the official. Thank you to my man LaserGator on Instagram for pointing that out to me. If you look closely, the blue inner shirt is sculpted slightly different, but the main difference is in the tear across Goku's chest. It may look the same at first glance, but the tear on the bottom right side is slightly thinner and longer, and the tattered upper area is also sculpted differently. The lower torso is also, I believe, borrowed from the slightly slimmer Super Saiyan God mold, which in turn does allow for slightly better articulation, but you are left with a significant gap all the way around the two pieces. It's quite noticeable, and I'm not sure if this is a conscious decision on DF's part or it just turned out the way that it did. Again, you might not care, but it is something to note. So now to what I think is the biggest change between both figures, the faces. If you like them, I'm definitely happy for you, because I like maybe half of them, and for me personally, the faces make or break the look of the overall figure. The smirk and the stern faces are pretty solid, but the other two unfortunately lack the detail and paintwork of the original. The prints are clean and on point, but again, you're missing the lines around the mouth and the lack of contrast between the lighter skin tone of DF's version and the mouth details. It just seems kind of washed out. I think these faces are Demoniacal Fit's semi-original designs, because you don't get the sculpted bulges above the eyes, or at least they're not as prominent, and the nose is way shorter than the original, almost to a point of making it look a little stubby. It's like they based the faces on the full power Goku, but used the expressions from the Super Saiyan 2, which is an interesting choice since the full power Goku faces weren't the most well received. In any case, it's kind of a mishmash, and that's where it kind of throws me off a bit. The pupils, I feel, are a little bit too close together and don't cut off at the eyebrow, so you get almost a full circle for the pupils, which is okay for the power-up face, but doesn't really work for the others. And I'm not basing this off the original or comparing this to the original, I'm basing this off the anime which this figure is supposed to represent. The white areas of the eyes are a little bit bigger, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it gives off more of a Dragon Ball Super-ish look rather than Keisuke Masanaga's art from the period of Dragon Ball Z, which it's based on. This art was sharper, more angular, smaller eyes, and had a distinct look, which I personally think the official nailed. Just look at the comparison between Masanaga's artwork and the official release, especially the smirk face, thinner, more angular eyes. Again, this is just my personal preference, but I do prefer the official release over Demoniacal Fit's offerings. Alright, so I want to talk about the plastic quality and QC, and with Demoniacal Fit, they're usually pretty good about it. No paint imperfections, no breakages, everything moves the way it's supposed to, with a few overly tight joints around the arms and waist, but nothing major. I will say this though, and it's not just Demoniacal Fit, but Tamashii has had this issue with some of their figures as well. Demoniacal Fit more so, but Goku feels floppy at the torso. Sometimes it's the legs, sometimes it's the waist, sometimes it's kind of all over. But when you shake the figure lightly, it kind of bobbles, and it's not supposed to with a good quality figure, or a figure that's been put together right. It's not a huge issue, and it's not like that Goku is falling apart, but having that floppy feeling really detracts from that premium feel these figures are supposed to have. Plastic quality wise, it's not on par with Tamashii's best figures, and the best way I can kind of describe it is that it kind of feels like the Super Saiyan full power figure. Not bad, but definitely not as good or as premium feeling as, not bad, but definitely not as good as the premium feeling like the event exclusive Super Saiyan God release. The plastic feels just a little bit softer, and the joints and the parts aren't as precisely put together, I guess, and I know it's hard to describe in words, but I think if you pick up both figures, the official and Demoniacal Fit's version, you'll know what I mean. Alright guys, let's take a look at the articulation, and at this point we've all seen and heard this a million times over, but just in case you wanted to hear it again because you love watching and hearing me go over toys and reviewing toys, here it is. The 2.0 Goku articulation. There really isn't anything different except for the torso. We do get a bit of extra articulation in the torso because of the gap, or because of the size of the upper torso and the lower torso. But first off, the head. And if I can get it to focus, Goku looks up about that much, and he looks down a fair bit. We get side-to-side rotation, left and right tilt, really good left and right tilt. And yeah, just your standard, you know, your neck on the ball hinge, and the neck there is also an independent piece, so that gives quite a bit of that, I guess, side-to-side free range of movement there at the head. The shoulders, we have the shoulder pads. On the shoulder pads, we have the shoulder pieces here, the gi shoulder pieces here on a ball joint that are attached to the shoulder there. And Goku does have butterfly joints, but they're not the best. He can only bring his arms in about that much. So the 3.0 is a vast improvement. A little squeaky there. Goku can hit a T-pose, 90 degrees or a bit. Just let me get those shoulder pieces out of the way. 90 degrees there at the shoulders, and of course 360 squeaky tight. For the arms, we get upper bicep swivel, your double jointed elbows, swivels at the wrist, and of course hinges. So moving on to the torso, we get a really good crunch. It's better than the standard 2.0 body. But I guess if you wanted to do that torso mod, which gives you even more ab crunch, you could pop off the upper torso, and there should be a tab there that restricts the torso from going even further. If you cut that tab, you'll get really good forward-facing ab crunch. But you can do that if you want. I recommend you heating up the torso first before popping it off. That always makes it a lot easier and prevents any breakage that obviously you don't want. So yes, you do have an upper and lower torso joint there, so you do get side to side swivel, and it does go around. You get left and right tilt, and of course you do get that swivel there at the lower waist as well. The belt is a floating independent piece. And moving on to legs, we get the 180 forward and backward splits, and we also get really good left and right splits as well. Not perfect 180, but it's really good. Upper thigh cut, of course, your double jointed knees, and this time the knees are glued on. You know, sometimes with third-party companies, the knees kind of pop off. I've had that issue with a couple of my Demoniacal Fit figures, but this one feels pretty solid. We get the swivels there at the ankle, down and up, toe joint, and very limited ankle tilt there. But luckily the 3.0 has rectified that, so hopefully we get that bit of updated articulation with all of our figures going forward. But again, I mean, you know, it's the standard 2.0 body. It does the job. It's got pretty decent articulation, especially here in the ab section. The arms are decent. The legs are really good because, you know, obviously you don't get that sculpted in butt there at the back like the 3.0. A lot of people do prefer the leg setup for the 2.0 over the 3.0. But everything else on the 3.0, especially the ankles and the butterfly joints, in my opinion, are superior. But yeah, no, it's still a very good gi wearing body, and one that I always enjoy posing from time to time. For accessories, we get the standard affair with any 2.0 Goku figure. It's 2 fists, 2 open palm blast hands, a set of Kamehameha hands, a pair of fighting pose hands, and 2 instant transmission hands. As I mentioned at the start of the video, we get 2 sets of bangs in case you wanted a full power Super Saiyan look as well. And I guess this counts as an accessory as well, but we also get the halo, which plugs in a little differently to the official release. Well, I guess the positioning of where the halo plugs in. And last but definitely not least, we get the power up aura with electric parts, which honestly I prefer on the Demoniacal Fit version, not because of cosmetic reasons, but because how easier it is to plug in the electric parts. It's incredibly difficult to plug those parts in for the official version, to a point where I just don't even want to bother anymore. I even broke off a piece trying the other day, filming a short. It's just a pain in the ass and too much of a hassle. For Demoniacal Fit, it's a little easier, and to be honest, there really isn't much difference aesthetically. The yellows are slightly different hues, and the blue is a little darker with the electric parts. So is Majin Buster worth the purchase? Well, it depends if you have the original or not. Absolutely if you missed out on the official version, and I gotta say no, if you have the Figuarts. Again, this is only my personal opinion, but other than the price and exclusivity of the official release, which to many is a huge reason not to choose it over Majin Buster, there really isn't anything else that's significantly better. Yes, the colors are brighter and more vibrant. The hair is a nice matte yellow, and you even get an extra bangs. But that still isn't enough to trump what I think is still a better quality figure all around, with aesthetics that, in my opinion, better capture the particular artwork it was based on. If I had to choose one over the other, it would have to be hands down Figuarts, and it's not to say that Demoniacal Fit's version is bad in any way, it's just that the official release is one of the best uses of the 2.0 body and some of the most faithful expressive faces out there, and just has a premium feel and finish that complements the whole package. Yes, making it an event exclusive was a terrible idea, and it fetches a hefty price tag on the aftermarket, and I honestly don't recommend you paying exuberant amounts of money for it, but still, it's a gorgeous figure, not without its faults of course, but compared to Demoniacal Fit, I have to go with Figuarts on this one. Still, there's a lot to like about Majin Buster. If you prefer the faces on this version, then that's great. They're not bad in the slightest, just different and not what I personally picture when I think Super Saiyan 2 Goku. But if you don't have any attachment to the Buu arc or Masanaga's artwork and you prefer the Dragon Ball Super style, then this may very well be to your liking. I'm definitely keeping this in my collection as I like it more than enough to have multiple copies of. Obviously, the Super Saiyan 2 transformation is my all-time favorite, but the way I see it is the official will be my artist-specific version, and Majin Buster will be my general anime version. There's definitely room enough for both, at least in my collection anyway. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I hope you found it useful. Again, this was only my personal preference, and if you prefer Demoniacal Fit's version more, I mean, I never really wanted to make it a competition in the first place, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I will be back for one of my most anticipated figures of this year. Yes, that's right, Figuarts Turles is just around the corner, so I'm super excited for that. Hope to see you all back for that review, but until then, take good care of yourselves, be good to your mums, and as always, yoroshiku!